Tonight, the man charged over a fatal crash in Canberra's south last night claims he wasn't behind the wheel.
Reasons unknown, this vehicle has lost control and tragically someone is now deceased.
Nine people hospitalised after a suspected mass drug overdose at a house in Perth. Empowering Women, the initiative that aims to support domestic violence survivors by teaching them self-defence. And Canberra's BMX champion Caroline Buchanan seriously hurt in a car crash. Good evening, Craig Allen with ABC News. Just a few days into the new year and ACT police are investigating the Territory's first fatal road accident. A man in his early 20s was killed last night when a car rolled on Yarra Glen in the city's south. He's been named as Joseph Stefaniak, the son of former ACT opposition leader Bill Stefaniak. Today, the man accused of dangerous driving over the crash told a court he wasn't behind the wheel when the accident happened.
Just 2 days into 2018, the first fatality on Canberra's roads for the year.
3 people are fighting for their lives in intensive care after a mass drug overdose at a house in Perth, in which 9 people were hospitalised. Witnesses have described how some of the patients were unconscious, while others were violently convulsing. Authorities are still trying to determine what drug they took.
Police and paramedics converged on the inner city property in Victoria Park just before midnight to discover 9 people either unconscious or violently ill. Some had to be restrained as they were stretchered out and rushed to 3 major hospitals across the city.
The family of a hiker found alive after 5 days lost in rugged terrain is claiming his survival a miracle. Grave fears were held for Julio Escui's safety after he stopped contacting his family. He'd been trekking through the Grampians National Park in Victoria's west, and as Elias Kluwer reports, his family never gave up hope.
It's him.
For nearly 6 days, the family of Julio Escui had been holding on to hope. After being lost in the Grampians National Park in Western Victoria,
a zookeeper on the south coast has been taken to hospital after being gored by a rhinoceros. Mogo Zoo says the injury happened during a routine procedure with the southern white rhino this afternoon. The keeper was flown to the Canberra hospital with a suspected fractured arm. The zoo says an investigation is underway and its operating procedures will be reviewed. Iran's supreme leader has blamed foreign influences for the protests that have left at least 22 people dead across the country. Washington has dismissed the claim as complete nonsense, saying the demonstrations are a spontaneous reaction against the Iranian dictatorship. North America correspondent Stephanie March reports.
Not since 2009 has Iran seen anti-government protesters out on the streets like this.
In finance, the share market reversed yesterday's losses after a positive lead from Wall Street. But the Australian dollar was weaker. Here's Phillip Lasker.
One can never be complacent, but the vibes are good at the moment. As you can see by the dotted line, world growth is expected to pick up slightly, largely due to an improvement in the US. Europe and China are expected to slow, but recent numbers have raised hopes for better results and a synchronised global recovery. The Australian dollar's weaker this trading session, but still above 78 US cents, and that's finance.
World champion cyclist Caroline Buchanan has been seriously injured in an off-road car accident near Canberra. The 27-year-old was back home in the capital at the weekend after a successful year, which included her 8th world mountain bike title. In an Instagram post, Buchanan says 2017 didn't end quite as planned, adding it's been a rough couple of days in ICU after a vehicle roll. Cycling Australia says Buchanan is expected to make a full recovery. And we hope so too. In cricket, Australian opening bowler Mitchell Starc will return from injury for the 5th and final Ashes Test, which starts in Sydney tomorrow, with Jackson Bird dropped to make way. England has named leg spin bowler Mason Crane to make his Test debut on a pitch promised to offer plenty to the spinners.
England looked relaxed during the team photo, but its hopes of a first test win suffered a setback, with paceman Chris Wokes ruled out with a side strain.
Well, last night's electrical storm down towards the coast was plainly visible from Canberra. This was Graham Levi's view of it from Dunlop. What a great photo. Thanks for sending it in to us, Graham. It was a cooler day around Canberra with tops of 27 or 26 degrees. It's dry for now, although there have been some showers moving around the region tonight. There were isolated heavy showers out of last night's storms along the coast. The rain didn't really reach too far inland though. Temperatures today were mostly around the low 20s on the coast into the high 20s around the Riverina. Conditions were cooler through the southern states. While Brisbane reached 31, Cape York temperatures are very hot at the moment. It got to 36 in the Alice and 24 in Adelaide. The instability over the east coast is slipping out to sea, and there's heavy cloud activity associated with storms over the tropics. An inland trough will begin to draw very hot winds over the ACT and region, and we'll see temperatures really starting to heat up in time for the weekend. There'll be some Tasmanian showers tomorrow and rain and storms over the top end, but mostly fine everywhere else. A top of 26 in Melbourne, Sydney 25 and Brisbane 29. It'll be warmer if mostly fine if somewhat cloudy around the local region tomorrow. Up to 27 degrees in Cooma, 28 in Goulburn and 30 in Yass. And here in Canberra, we'll have a slightly warmer day with some cloud around. From 12 tonight, we'll get up to a top of 29 tomorrow. The sun will slip down behind the mountains at around 8:26 tomorrow night. And the Bureau is still forecasting a hot spell by the weekend. Temperatures up to 36 and 37 degrees. But hopefully we could get some weekend showers as well. Now, before we go, a brief recap of our top stories tonight. Police are investigating Canberra's first fatal road accident of the year. Joseph Stefaniak, the son of former ACT opposition leader Bill Stefaniak, was killed when the car he was in rolled on Yarra Glen in the city's south. Today, the man accused of dangerous driving over the crash told a court he wasn't behind the wheel. A Melbourne bushwalker who was missing for 5 days in the Grampians has been found safe and well. Julio Ascui last had contact with his family via social media on December 29. And that's the latest from the Canberra newsroom. I'm Craig Allen. Thanks for your company. Stay with us now for 7:30 with Kumi Taguchi.